I'd like to call to order the June 16, 2009 meeting of the Louisville Planning and Zoning Commission and announce that we do have a quorum present. Item 2 on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the June 2nd, 2009 meeting, And do I have any comments or corrections or motion on the meeting minutes?
No, make a motion to approve the minutes. Second.
Motion from Bill, second from James, to approve the minutes of the June 2nd, 2009 meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Meeting minutes are approved. Item 3 on the agenda is consent agenda plats. Item 3A is the amended final plat of Castle Hills, Phase 5, Section A, lots 39, 40, and 41R, Block B. A .48 acre tract designated ETH, located at the northeast corner of FM 2281 and Magic Mantle Drive, also known as 2117, 2121, and 2125 Magic Mantle Drive. Mary.
Good evening, Commissioners. This is an amended plat. Essentially what they are doing is relocating some internal lot lines. I believe they have probably a house that needs a little bit more room and some that don't need as much room, so you can do that through an amended plat. There are no variances, and it meets all the zoning and general development ordinance requirements, and we would recommend approval.
Thank you, Mary. Any comments from the Commissioners? If not, as a consent agenda, do I have a motion on item 3A?
Make a motion to pass item 3A as presented.
Motion from Jim and a second from Joy to recommend approval of item 3A. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Item 3A passes. Item 4 is public hearing zoning. Item 4A is consideration of an ordinance amending Chapter 17 of the Louisville Code of Ordinances, zoning ordinance, Section 17 through 20A, medical district zoning use regulations.
Good evening again. We kind of talked about this a little bit at the last meeting. Essentially what we're trying to do is we're going through the ordinance, trying to clean up some things, especially before Jean leaves. And this particular request, this is medical district zoning. The category allows nursing home, convalescent homes, and then if you read down there, if you continue further down the list, the other uses, it says other uses, other similar uses to the above-mentioned permitted uses. Over the last 10 years, we have had, assisted living, independent living type uses come in and use this category. I believe we have one over on College near the Sam's Walmart area, and that is zoned medical district, and I believe there's both assisted and independent living around in that area. What we are trying to do is basically clarify. I guess there was some, even among staff trying to look at, well, it doesn't exactly say, independent living or assisted living, but we've been using that over the last 10 years. And basically what we've seen is with the social demographics changing, we have an aging population, these types of uses are going to be more prevalent and more in today's society. So we are having a lot more of these types of uses wanting to come in into the city. So, they do have an opportunity to go into multifamily zoning if they just want to do a straight independent living apartment thing. Churchill Residential has done one over on Main Street. Where they did, deed restrict to 55 and older. They do provide some alternative services. What we're proposing here is just basically a clarification in the medical district zoning to allow the independent living, the assisted living, and we are adding some clarification so that, you can't just say, throw up some kind of residential thing and it turn into an apartment for anyone. So we are putting a descriptor in here where it would be limited to persons age 55 and older, and it would have to include some kind of on-site service such as meals, doctor visit, medication management, some kind of organized fitness, housekeeping, laundry services. Now, there's a whole bunch of things listed in here and some that aren't listed. They wouldn't have to provide everything, but they would have to provide some of these services. And obviously, if you're looking to move into one of these locations, you would want to look for something that will provide the types of services that you're looking for. The independent living is basically, people that are a little bit older, looking to downsize or don't want the responsibility of a yard, but want to have their independence still, and maybe have someone provide certain services for them, like barber services or, drive them to their doctor's appointments or what have you. What we're looking at is a population that's getting older, and we want to be able to provide housing for them for the different life cycles. So we have a lot of single-family residential, a lot of apartments. What this would provide is basically an area where they could have community for older adults, and it would allow the transitioning. There are some places where you have, where they go from living in their own house or their own apartment, whatever, and then you would transition into this independent living if you so chose to. And then as you aged or as your requirements became greater, you could move into the assisted living. So maybe you need some medication management. And then once you, got a little bit older, maybe in your 90s or whatever, you could move into the nursing home section. So it just provides a good transition for these people. Essentially, like I said, this is more of a clarification. We have been allowing this. This allows clarification for staff, for anyone else who's looking at the ordinance, gives them opportunity, whether they want to go do the apartment thing, which they could do, just, slightly different requirements. But, some people frown on the whole apartment zoning. So this actually gives them an alternative to do that and allows the people who are operating these facilities to, take it one step beyond if they so chose to provide other services. So I think Gene talked to you guys a little bit about this last week. We do have that Churchill residential thing going through. So it kind of seemed like a good point or a good time to kind of go in and clarify this. And again, we are putting an age limit on there, so it's not like it's, going to turn into some kind of apartment zoning at some other time. So there are, if someone, decided to, if let's say Churchill Residential went in there, built this, these residential units for 55 and older, they couldn't just, turn around and start renting it to anyone. There would be not only, you're looking at a difference between having deed restrictions, which are voluntary, versus this would be in the zoning ordinance and be much more enforceable on a city standpoint in terms of making sure that it doesn't just convert into some kind of apartment unit, per se, for anyone. That's basically my spiel. You guys have any questions?
Any questions for Mary? I'm in a minute. I might in a moment, but for now, I will open the public hearing on item 4A. Anyone who's wishing to speak for or against item 4A can step forward, and we have no one in our audience, so do I have a motion to close the public hearing? Please.
Motion to close public hearing.
Motion from James, second, please.
Second.
Second from Joy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Public hearing on item 4A is closed. Mayor, I guess my only question is that I understand the age limit piece of it that's more enforceable from an ordinance perspective. I'm not exactly sure how we verify that people are following that, in the apartments, but My bigger concern when I read this was, we want them to be providing services, and obviously, the better services they provide, the more marketable their product's going to be to those who are 55 and over. But we don't really have any guarantee that they are going to provide. When we zone, we have no idea really at that point even what they've platted or planned for. They may even be shopping around for a developer for the property at that point. So we really don't know what services they're going to offer. And they could offer one service. They could offer, just one thing, like maybe an on-site barbershop, and that could be it, and that could qualify them for the zoning. But
Right, but you have to remember that the medical district is not just tailored to an independent living or assisted living facility. It's the other uses that are allowed in medical district, you can have a doctor's office, you can have a pharmacy, you can have clinics, what else we got there? Optical sales, medical, dental, you can have hospital, you can end up with a church on it.
which obviously means you don't want them to have on-site medication management or a barber shop or on-site activities required.
Well, and it's not. Those examples are for
Right.
the independent living facility specifically. So basically what we're doing is saying, you can have an independent living facility on this property. However, we don't want it to just be your run-of-the-mill apartment. It has to be a true independent living thing. So age 55 and older, so basically you're looking at people who are, moving from their house or an apartment or something and need some kind of services, personal care services.
But that's where I find it pretty vague, is that we don't really know what kind of services really make the ordinance valid, or that they could provide any or really none by the time someone actually markets the product out.
Mary, do they have to be certified by state or by county health or anyone
The
to be an
independent
assisted living?
assisted living, yes. Independent living, no. But, the thing is, they would have to provide some kind of services. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. It doesn't sell, and it doesn't fit the ordinance, and we could go in and find them and shut them down and so on and so forth. That's why we're putting this in here.
Okay.
So we have some kind of tools to work for it.
I don't disagree really with the change in the ordinance. I just, and it's good that it's being clarified in there that they need to provide some sort of services. I just think that we won't really ever know what that is or guarantee what or how many.
We do, we will know some things, because once they do their site plan, the site plan will show not only the buildings, but it'll show, offices, and it may show, maybe they have a workout facility or something. So there are different ways to see what they are doing.
Okay. I just know that we generally talk at other times that when you're as far up in the process as zoning, it's when you get to the final product at the end, it's hard to know what it's really going to look like. Mm-hmm. And all this really says is you've got to make it look like assisted living. The 55 and over, I get. The other pieces seem to be like, these are things that you need to do, but really when we start to zone this and plat it, we won't really ever know what they're going to offer. That's all up to them and what they want their product to look like and how they want to market their product.
True.
So I guess in the end, the bottom line question might be, do they have to have one of those, one thing that seems to be a senior-related item, otherwise they would be in violation of their zoning?
Right. They'd have to have at least one.
Okay.
But, the market will dictate, what makes something successful or not successful.
I understand that, but we're basing our zoning on what they tell us they're going to do way at the zoning end of the process. I'm looking at this chunk of land, and I like it. It'll be great for an assisted living.
Well,
I want medical district.
Like the Churchill residential deal, they have it down pat, and part of their funding, requires them to do certain things.
Right.
So the zoning and stuff really is coming in at the tail end of their cycle. That's not to say that it's going to
happen that way.
Everybody,
right.
We've got, and even if, someone comes in with something and it falls through, there's lots of other uses that can go in medical district zoning.
Right.
You've got drugstores, you've got doctor's offices, heck, a church can go anywhere. Laboratories, nursing homes, and we have a lot of I think over time, we're looking at the, the demographics, and we are an aging population. And so I think, this offers us a good opportunity to get kind of with the curve instead of being behind the curve.
Okay. Thank you, Mary. Does anyone else have any questions, comments?
Mary,
Jim?
has there been any kind of calls on this at all, for, or against? Anything like this, or is anything like this even published?
This is not published. It's only advertised when we have to go to city council for
Right.
a zone change amendment. So it's not like there's a zone change sign out the front. Like, there's one for the Churchill residential because they are doing a zone change.
Right.
And I haven't heard anyone call on that one at all, to be honest with you, that I've personally spoke to.
Anyone else? Any other commissioners? Okay. Thank you, Mary.
Okay.
Any comments before we have a motion on item 4A? Discussion, questions? If not, could I please have a motion on item 4A?
Make a motion to accept, approve, recommend item 4A as presented.
Motion from Jim, second. Second from Joy to recommend approval of the zoning ordinance change to City Council. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Item 5 is adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Motion from Bill, second. From Joy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.